I think it's beautiful the time that we're living in right now, where there's so much research coming out
Yeah.
to prove
Mm-hmm.
out these things scientifically. So now there's a balance between the brain and the heart and the body, because
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, these spiritual advisors and the people that knew this to be true but didn't have any data, any
Mm.
science, right? And anyone that lets their mind lead, it's really hard for them to wrap their mind around that. And so I think that's why we're having such a mass spiritual awakening,
Yeah.
because people can finally see, okay, this actually does make sense.
Yeah.
This is being proven.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm giving myself permission to
Mm-hmm.
trust that,
Yeah.
because there is a bit of rationale behind it
Yeah.
versus the woo woo that kind of this community has been labeled as for such a
Yeah.
long time. And now it's like, oh, is it woo woo? Is it woo woo, or is it true?
Welcome to the Bridge Podcast, a podcast featuring heart-centered leaders, artists, healers, speakers, and creatives who are leading a new paradigm through their own personal embodiment. Join us to explore the evolution of humanity that we see happening on our planet, and how the intersection of art and humanity may be the key to having a new experience on Earth, as we individually and collectively choose to align with a greater peace, unity, harmony, and unconditional love in our everyday lives. Together, we will explore inspiring, insightful, and healing conversations that tap us into the artist within, empower us to be the conscious creators of our reality, and amplify the world we want to see by coming home to our own divinity. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Bridge Podcast. I'm so stoked for this week's episode with Jordyn, the Evergreen Oracle. We had such an amazing time together. We got to sit in nature to record this episode together, and it was our first time actually connecting in this way. We know each other from childhood, and we will talk about that a little bit, but we got to really sit down and talk about our journeys, talk about magic, talk about spirituality, and our experience as artists, and really just explore so many things from a new point of view. And I just absolutely love her. So I'm so excited that she's here to share some of her journey, her perspectives, her recent growth on social media, and what she's stepping into, and all of the beauty that came from that. I didn't say this in the episode, but I'll share it with you now. When I was younger, I remember thinking, I want to be friends with Jordyn, and she was several years older than me. And one thing that I've realized as I've grown is that I had these intuitive feelings or desires to be friends with certain people or connect with them. And what I really was tapping into was a future potential, a future timeline, because those things have come to fruition as I've gotten older. And it's been really fun to look back to those moments and remember when I had that feeling and I had that desire, and realize that I'm living within that dream now, or within that inspiration. And so it really makes the whole journey feel so magical and so full circle. And this is so much better than I ever envisioned. And I just love how the universe fills in those blanks and makes things happen. And it's such a great reminder that life is always looking to please us and bring us joy and bring things to fruition that we've had dreams about so long ago. And we get tripped up sometimes, I think, in linear time or trying to control things. And we don't realize that things that we desired long ago could be coming tomorrow, or could be working out for us in a month or this year, even while we're in the pursuit of new desires, or we're adding new things to our pleasure list per se, or there's new things that we want to try and create and experience. There's still so much space for life to please us and delight us in all of these ways that we have previously been inspired by. So I hope that's an inspiring reminder for you today of the magic and interconnectedness of life and of the inner workings of reality. And I hope that this conversation can inspire you and make you feel a little bit more of that magic in your life. In this episode, we talk about clairvoyance and developing your intuition, gifts, and sensitivities, grounded spirituality, connecting with your angels and guides, recalibrating your nervous system and identity to worthiness, surrendering to the unknown, creativity as a spiritual act, the pursuit of joy as the whole point, the importance of feeling and being seen, judgment and comparison, shifting our inner world to experience external harmony, the new era of AI as a pathway of unconditional love, visibility, fame, impact and purpose, media as an amplifier, and raising our awareness about the impact and potential power of how we choose to use it. We also discuss her journey becoming a mom, being a witch, reading tarot and authentic expression, our childhoods growing up as performers and our evolving relationship with art and expression, her experience with body dysmorphia, rediscovering what it means to be on stage and be in the spotlight, being the main character of your life, becoming the change you want to see, and sharing it to help others on their journey. Jordyn is a former dancer and performer who hung up her dancing shoes at 22 after realizing her dreams no longer aligned with her reality. She chose instead to pursue a 9-to-5 life and climb the corporate ladder for what she imagined would be a more reliable and consistent path in life. 2 years ago, her journey took an incredible turn when she experienced a profound spiritual awakening that reconnected her with her intuition and innate feminine gifts. Now, at 33, she's rewriting her story through this awakening and coming back to her childhood dreams in a brand new way. Passionate about the mystical world, she reads tarot, explores the Akashic records, dabbles in numerology, shares intuitive messages, and anything that brings her joy. Her mission is to heal while deepening her understanding of herself, God, and the universe, and to share her journey along the way. Inspired to use her voice, Jordyn aims to create a loving community where everyone feels seen and heard. Since starting her Instagram account, The Evergreen Oracle, a year ago, it has grown to nearly 10,000 followers, and this is just the start. Embracing surrender over control, Jordyn trusts that her path will unfold beautifully and has no concrete plans for what is next. She's excited to see what the universe has in store for her next. I'm sure you can feel the magic, and I'm so ready to get into this episode, so let's get started. I hope you enjoy it. Let's dive in.
Welcome.
Hi. Hi. Hello,
Um,
everyone.
Welcome, Jordyn, to the Bridge podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today. The Evergreen Oracle. Such a beautiful name, so radiant. I mean, hello. I'm so excited to have you here because one, synchronistically, this has come together just so beautifully. And I mean, she came from the other side of the country, and I happened to be where she came to.
Yeah.
Just at this time for us to do this, and we were talking about it months ago, really. And Jordyn has been so supportive of the bridge since it came out.
I love the bridge.
And
Number
now
one
you're here.
fan.
Number one fan. I love it. You have a little foam finger.
Yeah.
She's been just such a supportive light and presence and reflection for me and encouragement to keep going and keep sharing. So it's really special to have you here
I'm so
and
excited.
to get to share this with you and to get to share you on the bridge, because not that I'm sharing you, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get to have you and have you share, because we know each other from childhood. Essentially, I actually danced with Jordyn's sister.
Yeah.
And so I knew Jordyn. We weren't connected personally, but recently we connected on social media. I saw that Jordyn was doing the tarot readings and starting to share more about spirituality. And then the bridge happened, and it's just blossomed beautifully. And we were pulling our cards before this and and all the magic. And I just love your way of sharing the magic and sharing your journey. And you're so authentic with what you share, and it's really easy to receive the magic that you share too, just in how you show up. And I know that you are starting to grow and get some more attention and exposure, and I'm so excited about that for you. And yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation today. So do you want to just say a little bit about yourself before we get into everything?
Yes. Thank you for that introduction. And I'm so excited to be here. I really am. I knew when you reached out to me, and it was a while that we connected on this, and
Yeah.
then we didn't talk for a bit. And then, of course, the timing aligned so perfectly for us to meet today, which is magical. But I, yeah, have been listening to your podcast since you launched it, and I just have connected so deeply to a lot of the women that you've had on the podcast, and their experiences have resonated with me, and I'm sure many others. So this is such a magical forum that you've created,
Mm,
for people to delve into this side of
yeah.
themselves and spirituality. And yeah, I am fairly new to the spiritual community and
Mhm.
this world. It's only been a couple of years for me.
You could share a little bit about growing up as a dancer too, because you grew up dancing at the same studio, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we both went to a studio in the Lower Mainland in British Columbia, which is where I'm from, and that
Affinity dance, shout out.
Affinity Dance.
Which, by the way, the word affinity showed up in one of our card readings before this, so that
It
was
did.
a really beautiful synchronicity
It
as
did.
well.
Yeah, of course, of
Of
course.
course.
The cards never lie. The
No.
cards are always saying something.
Right.
But yeah, we both grew up dancing. I was 5 or 6 years older than Chelsea, so I'm a
Mhm.
bit older.
Mhm. A bit.
So just a bit. And yeah, so she would have danced with my sister. So to be completely transparent, when she reached out to me, she's like, I don't know if you remember me. I'm like, truly, I don't. And
Don't take it personally.
it's not an insult to you. Your face looks a bit familiar,
Yeah.
and it's been such a long time
I would have to
since
tell
we
you what
were.
routines Lexi and I did in order for
Yeah.
me to be like, oh, okay, that time. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was also my teenage years. I was
Yeah.
very self-involved. Like there's no way I was considering anyone but myself and like my own bubble of what,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. And my sister and her friends were not something I cared about at the time.
Yeah.
So it was really not. I was like, "Oh, this is so interesting," but I do think
Mm,
it's been, now having been away from that world and dancing for such a long time and now coming into the spiritual world, it's been
mhm.
so interesting to see all of these connections between those
Mm,
two worlds. And
yes.
specifically with your podcast, which I
Yes.
mentioned to you earlier, but all the guests pretty much come from the arts, dance, acting, singing, whatever the
Mhm.
case is, right? And then now are kind of bridging
Yeah.
those two things, spirituality and the arts, being a creative.
Yeah.
And so when you reached out to me, and in many other cases through this journey for me, I've been reconnected with people or connected to people that have both of those
Mhm.
aspects of
Mhm.
really being creatives and then also stepping into this, intuitive spiritual world and
Yeah.
sharing from that place. And so that's been really cool and
Yeah.
interesting. And I think on purpose,
Yes.
as I learn more about
Shout out
myself.
Jay Shetty.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, as I learn more about myself and as I continue to walk down this path, it's become clear that, yeah, the creativity piece will be really important for
Mhm.
me as well.
Mhm. So what changed for you when you graduated? When I know spirituality has come into your life more recently,
Yeah.
but what really changed for you when you left? Like what happened after you graduated from Affinity? And did you want to be a performer? I know that you went to cruise ships, but did you want to always be an artist? Was that like the only thing that you had thought for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. It was everything I ever cared about, especially through my teenage years specifically. It was just eat, sleep, breathe,
Mm,
dance and performing. And there was just never a question of whether I would be a dancer. It was just like, I will be a dancer.
yeah.
There's no question in my mind. The only other thing I ever considered doing was broadcast journalism.
Mm.
But again, I think that was really just like another
Yeah.
performing, right? It's like,
Right,
okay,
right. Sharing your
I can
voice
make a
and
job of this, but
yeah.
I will be still performing. I will still be on camera. I will still
Right.
be.
Right.
There's always been
I
this
mean, that's
piece
what a
of,
podcast is too,
yeah,
technically, right?
right.
Yeah.
So being seen, being heard, there's just always been this part of me that knew that that was in the cards for me, or
Mm,
that that was part of my
right.
soul's purpose, this incarnation and maybe
Mm,
past, but who knows?
yeah.
So yeah, no, there was never a question for me.
Do you feel like dance really set you up for this now more, let's say, spiritual awakening or what you're doing now? Did
Mm,
dance, like, do you think about how dance supported you or helped you develop and how that has now served or been of value to what you're going through? Like, do you see the connection in new
yeah.
ways?
Yeah, of course. There's a ton of connection. I think mostly that connection of your body and your mind
Yeah.
and your intuition. And at that age, not even knowing, but
Right.
being able to express myself so consistently.
Yeah.
Right. And everything
I
was getting
know.
poured out of
Yeah.
me in rehearsal and on the stage. And you don't even think about that. And then when you turn that off, you're just compounding all of those things
Yeah.
that you would have been releasing, that you're so used to having that outlet to release,
Yeah.
and you don't have that anymore.
Right.
And that's something we just don't think about.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about it until recently, where it was like, no, I wasn't doing it as a spiritual act, but it is innately spiritual.
Right.
We are moving our bodies, we are expressing, we
Yeah.
are
We're
emoting,
vessels.
we are vessels, we are sharing
Yeah.
parts of ourselves, intimate parts of ourselves
Yeah.
from a very young age.
Yeah.
And that's just so normal.
Mm.
And then you just cut off that self-expression
Yeah.
in such a major way. So
No wonder I haven't been as happy for 10 years. I mean, in other ways, I have
yeah,
been absolutely blissed out and fulfilled and am so grateful and wouldn't change it. But
yeah,
it's just an interesting point to make of what was so normal then
yeah,
was no longer normal for me or part of my normal life like for 10 years. And now reconnecting with it, I'm so excited to take all that I've learned and then reconnect with that like love of mine since I was a child.
yeah.
What were you like as a child? Were you already so when did you start dancing?
I started dancing, I don't know, I want to say like 8,
Okay.
between 6 and 8.
Were you
Started
always like a
dancing.
very expressive and creative child?
Yeah,
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 me
yeah.
too.
So I was very outgoing,
Yeah.
putting on performances for my family,
Yeah.
fashion shows,
Yeah.
and singing and yeah,
Back
I
to
was
the
on the
fashion
scoop.
note.
Yeah, back to fashion.
Yeah.
Always loved clothes and dressing up and
Mhm.
just expressing myself. I just loved self-expression in any way,
Mm.
and it just always felt so natural to me. But there was something that I wanted to touch on within dance as we talk about kind of, have I always, or like, I guess reconnecting
Mhm.
that dancer within us after it's been kind of shut off. And then, now I'm trying to reignite
Yeah.
that piece of myself that's so connected through movement. But there is this barrier now for me because I grew up in a competitive dancing environment.
Right.
And when you grow up learning how to dance, take ballet, technique,
Mhm.
there's this perfectionism that's
Right.
tied to it. There's, everything's a competition. We are training, we are working together for the common goal of winning, of
Mhm.
competing. And there's
Or like a
beauty in
score.
that. Yeah, score.
Yeah.
And there's beauty in that in certain ways, and it
Mhm.
has helped me be a very dedicated human, and I understand what dedication is because of dance
Yeah.
and working toward a goal and seeing progress and those types of things.
Yeah.
But it's also been really hard for me to just move my body without that piece,
Right.
knowing I don't have technique anymore, knowing I can't do
Mm.
the splits, knowing that the way my body moves now is completely different to the way that I was able to move
Right.
before.
Yeah.
And being able to sit in that and be comfortable with that
Mhm.
and not judge myself
Yeah.
and be able to enjoy it, that has been really difficult for me. And
Mhm.
that's where I am now, of wanting to bring that back and wanting to feel good in my body and move, but also this piece of self-judgment and criticism that comes through of
Yeah.
just growing up having that be the
Right.
goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a more the feminine surrender of
Mm.
being more intuitive and in the unknown and not having such a goal or a specific container that you're moving within or expressing
Yes.
within, right? I
Yes.
think that's part of helping me come into maybe a more free expression in my life. The podcast is giving a container because
Mm.
my system's so used to feeling safe in a container.
Yeah.
And I've been expressing myself still, but kind of without the container, I felt ungrounded.
Yeah.
And so this is almost like a way to ground myself too, to be able to feel more free and safe to flourish in different ways because I'm setting my own stage, my own foundation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I want to be center stage in my own life as with
Yeah.
everybody else
Yeah.
as well. And so I think we kind of get to create our own platforms in that way too.
Yeah. That's what social media is for me
Yeah.
now, or kind of
Yeah.
what it's becoming for me. I think it started out as one thing and is moving into something else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And finding our authenticity,
yeah.
right? I wanted to bring that in too because it's so different to we obviously have some of our authenticity and our uniqueness in the arts as we grow up, but I think as you awaken and evolve and see more and just grow as a person and a soul, you also tap into whole new levels of authenticity and
Yes.
more of a wholeness, I would say, in experiencing your authenticity and how you share it in this world. And so, yeah, that being able to bring that to the arts and then also tap into it in everyday conversations or everyday moments.
Yeah.
How do I use everything I've been through in the arts and also in life now in these new spiritual ways or these new things that you're taking on? How do I let that influence my everyday moment to moment experience and kind of ground it in, which I think is really powerful.
Yeah, it is. It's like when I first started doing like channeling, and I would do, or it wasn't channeling, but like so many people online would be like, I have a channeled message for you.
Yeah.
And so I would be like, I have a channeled message. And
Yeah.
they were just like, stop saying channeled. Like, it's not
Right.
necessarily channeled. Like, it is and it isn't. Like, it's coming from you
Yeah.
and your intuition, but you're not channeling. Like, we're not like
Everything
talking
is
through
technically
you.
channeled.
Yeah,
right?
but like, they were very clear. It was just like
Yeah.
this, like, stop saying channeled. Like, it's
Yeah.
just a message. It's your
Yeah.
message, but you don't need to say channeled.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, interesting. And that
Yeah.
was like an immediate switch for me.
Yeah.
But it felt more authentic too,
Yeah.
right? Because I
Mhm.
think I was just saying channeled because it was like what
Mhm.
spiritual influencers say, or like when people were like accessing the Akashic records, like they're channeling, and it's like, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah. No, that's a real thing and an important point. We can actually get into that because I used to share a lot, and I didn't necessarily use channeled, but I felt like it was more esoteric and a little bit out of body for me. Like it was still real, but I didn't feel as much myself. So,
yes,
you know.
yes, yeah, and being grounded in spirituality, I think, is so important, and for the beginning of the spiritual journey when there's so much happening and so much coming to you
Yeah.
and so many magical things, and then you almost feel like you want to stay in that state.
Yeah.
And the last little while has been me coming back to ground zero and being like, I want to be human on earth, and I want to experience this, and I can still be spiritual, and I can still trust my intuition without needing to go into the Akashic records every day, without needing to read tarot cards or make decisions based on, you need like some sort of external validation that this is the right thing for you or the right choice for you. So that's been this last period of growth for me, because it was like, spirituality, all these things, numerology, tarot, Akashic records, learning, and then coming back into my human and being like, okay, now how do we use these here? And how do we translate it? Like, I just feel like my place here is to translate those things into a more human way of being, so that people that aren't spiritually inclined feel curious.
Yeah.
Because so many of my friends have started to dabble in these things now and been kind of interested in tarot and like interested in meditation, because they've seen how it's impacted me and how I live my life. And so that was kind of the connection, or the bridge for me. The bridge for me of being like, okay, so I needed to experience all this so that I have a baseline and I understand it, and then bring it back so that I can play with that and bring other people into that world with me in a more grounded way.
Yeah.
Versus 5D and being like up here all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that I actually love that. What I've really come to learn myself too is that spirituality is being human.
Yeah.
It's just a more conscious way of being human. It's more aware of your interconnectedness with all things and your infinite potential and your impact and your power being connected to everything. So it's like, how can I take everything I've learned and now apply it to living my life? And I think when people are speaking from my own experience, and that this may be what other people experience too, when they seem a bit more in the 5D or a bit more in the like up there territory, it's not that it's less true or less powerful, but you just don't feel it the same way as if it's coming through your body. I think there's like a layer of fear that tends to happen. For me, it was like fear of being seen, but not because I didn't want to be seen. It was because I didn't feel like I had safe connection in that new consciousness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where I could bring everything I was feeling and experiencing and seeing and discovering and be met in love and regulating presence and safety, and actually understand what it was I was going through in a way that brought me back into my body instead of kept me out of it because people
Yeah.
around me weren't necessarily doing that. So I think it's really important to bridge it into our life as humans. And I'm still learning and navigating this every single day. No
Yeah.
matter who I'm around, how much can I be in that effervescent love that I know is real, but meet everybody in the way that they need in that moment and not make it about me.
Yeah, where they're at. That was the other thing too, is
Yeah,
feeling super isolated in that
exactly.
stage, especially when the people around you are not there.
Yeah.
And to feel all these things and to have all of these moments, these very clear connections to
Mhm.
source, to God, to angels, to your ancestors, your guides, and to
Mhm.
have very few people to talk about it with, that
Exactly.
was really
Yeah.
isolating for me through my spiritual awakening. There was
Yeah.
very few people that I felt like understood
Yeah.
what I was going through, which was the basis of me creating my social channels and putting myself out there in that way,
Right.
was because I wanted to be a vessel for other people to feel seen in that moment when
Right.
they have those epiphanies, when they start to feel that connection, when they start to trust their intuition, when they're having these out of
Mhm.
body experiences and they feel so alone and isolated in it. And social media is such an amazing tool because that's where I would go
Mhm.
to hear other people speak
Me
about these
too.
things,
Me too.
hear what they
Yeah.
have to say, learn, connect.
Yeah.
And I really fought going on to social media.
Yeah.
I really fought it because I wasn't ready to be seen, or I
Yeah.
didn't want to be seen at that point, specifically within this world
Yeah.
of talking about tarot
Yeah.
and spirituality, and of course the judgment of others and
Yeah.
what people in my circle would think
Right.
about it and about me. And that took a huge leap of faith and bravery
Yes.
to be like, you know what? I can't care. I can't
Mhm.
care. I know this is a mission for me. I don't know how to explain it other than that
Mhm.
it feels right. And I don't know where it's going to lead me. I have zero idea what the path I'm
It's like a
going down looks
requirement.
like. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this is just what you have to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Why? Doesn't matter. This is
Yeah.
just what you have to do.
Well, I keep seeing that quote that says courage brings clarity, not
Mhm.
certainty.
Yeah,
Like you can be certain, but what are you being certain of? Because if
right.
you want to be certain of what the outcome is, that could lean into control very quickly, right?
That was my struggle for such a long time.
Yeah,
Control, control,
yeah,
control. And like, I honestly think this whole journey of the last couple of years for me has just been so that they can get me to release control.
yeah,
They're just like, we're just trying to get you to give a little bit of
yeah,
control up.
yeah.
And it took a year and a half, maybe more than that. It's
Mm-hmm.
really recent that I finally
Mm-hmm.
felt comfortable in the surrender,
Yes.
in the void, in just being okay with whatever outcome and
Mm-hmm.
trusting that that is going to be the desired outcome, the
Mm-hmm.
highest timeline. And
Yeah.
I no longer worry about that. But it
Mm-hmm.
took me such a long time to get there because you want the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
We as humans are so naturally like, okay, tell me, especially me as a Virgo, I'm like, tell me what I need to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If I know what the end goal is, I'll get there. I'll do it. Just tell me. And they're like, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. That's
Yeah.
not how this works.
Yeah.
You don't get to know the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
I also think because maybe the end goal is always changing
Yeah.
depending on the choices that you make.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an end goal in mind, you're stuck to
You're
that.
limiting
You're
yourself.
limiting
Yeah.
yourself.
And the universe.
Yeah, and the possibilities.
Yeah.
So that, but I know so many people struggle with that. It's,
Completely. Because it's an identity shift. When you were saying surrender, what came to me was there's a whole rewrite internally around being someone who can surrender and receive and be in relationship with the universe, because that's not how we're programmed to be from a young age.
yeah,
So it's like how I would describe it and how I've experienced it. Obviously, you're always connected. Like when you're born, you have your intuition, like you're connected to that space. And Abraham Hicks always talks about if nobody ever put something into your conscious, subconscious, your fields that was otherwise, you would have followed your bliss and your intuition the whole time and just been thriving. But we're in such a beautiful, interesting time on this planet where we're going from basically what that old experience was of our human potentially being programmed with the opposite of what our destiny is meant to be, but
Yeah.
it being perfectly part of the journey, so that the destiny and the bliss and coming into that can be an experience of so much, I don't know, harmony, love, joy. I mean, that's what I've experienced, and I get to know my true sound more. And then I can feel when it's a pattern or a program, because it pulls me off of my center, right? The past, the future, external environment, or emotions are the things that we have programs around and beliefs around and
Yeah.
experience to prove it. But when you're changing and shifting into more surrender, more of that magical space, it's like you have to almost pull your energy back from those programs and those fears and those limited beliefs, and then feel the feelings. And then you go through this like neutrality point where then you can essentially follow your intuition again from that pure place of who
Yeah.
you always were, and it was always there. So it's kind of like a quiet whisper becomes your whole reality that you're now living and playing within, and you're held by that space instead of feeling like you have to find it outside of you.
Yeah.
Right, it's like the mirror just gets even more amplified the more you're connected and the more you release what you're not. I also want to ask you about your guides, like when you said they, for anyone who's listening, just to hear your experience, or if someone doesn't know, what has your experience been of connecting with your guides? When did that start? Yeah, and just how has that journey been for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I just got goosebumps. They're definitely here.
Yeah,
But
of course.
I mean, my whole journey with spirituality didn't happen that long ago. I've truly only been dabbling in this world for, it'll be 2 years in October.
Mm-hmm.
I think the beginning of this journey for me was having my son, and that just completely shattered my identity and who I was and who I knew myself to be. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'll try not to cry. Um, but yeah, it was just, and then a big piece of that was that I had a boy and that I didn't want him to be, looking at technology all the time, looking at screens. So I really prioritized outdoor time with him. I really prioritized going outside, going on hikes, throwing rocks, looking at sticks, bugs, all these kind of things.
Yeah.
And it really connected me back to nature.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think back to the start of all of this, that was definitely part of it,
Mm-hmm.
because once I started to connect to nature again, it just completely shifted the identity that I had given myself,
Yeah.
specifically around, I used to be like, oh, I don't like the outdoors. I'm not a nature girl. I'm a city girl. I used to own that. Like, I lived in Vancouver and I wanted to be a city girl and I
Mm-hmm.
don't like nature, whatever. Like, oh my God, that could not be further from the truth. And now when I'm in nature, I'm like, it's the biggest exhale for me. It is when I feel the most in tune, most connected.
Mm-hmm.
It's a baseline. I need it. It is
Yeah.
so important.
I mean,
And
it's
that
literally
was
our
such a
nature.
huge part of me that was shut off for so long. So it's like,
Yeah.
of course, that's going to be kind of the start of me turning back on and
Mhm.
trusting my intuition again. And then I had a situation where, of course, the universe was like, okay, we've got a bit of you back on. Let's now start to shove you in the right direction. And the synchronicities started synchronizing. And I had always loved tarot. I always thought it was so cool. I loved witchy things. I was so fascinated by it.
Yeah.
But I had grown up in a Christian organized religion household where tarot was looked at as a very negative thing,
Right.
evil, devil, whatever.
Yeah.
So when I got older and I moved out, I would go to these tarot readers on my own, like every 6 months, and I always just loved it. Me and my friends would go. I had this one reader I would go to in Vancouver every time, and even after I moved, anytime I'd come back to Vancouver, I would go see her. And one time I messaged her and she said, oh, I'm not doing readings right now. I'm going back to school, but here is someone that I would refer you to. That's great. And she referred me to this girl, Stacy, who I actually went to high school with.
Of course.
So, of course. And I was like, Stacy, what? Didn't know she was doing tarot. We went to school for 1 year together in grade 10. So I didn't book a reading with her at that time, but I did follow her on Instagram. And so I was starting to see the things she would post. And around that same time, she posted about a tarot course that she was doing, saying, you don't have to know anything about tarot. You could be completely novice. If you're interested in it at all, reach out to me. So I reached out to her and I was like, tell me more. Tell me more. What do you mean you don't need to know?
Yeah.
I thought you were born a witch
Right.
and you just knew innately, I'm going to read
Say
tarot cards.
ciphers.
Yeah, like you either have it or you don't. Did not understand.
Yeah.
And so she was like, yeah, dude, like you can do this. So I remember talking to my husband and being like, I just really feel called to do this. I need something for myself. I've had this child and I work, but I don't have anything for me.
Mm.
And he was like, for sure, do it. And that was
Aw.
the starting off point, because once I started to learn about tarot, and it wasn't even the learning. I mean, I became obsessed with tarot and the cards and understanding them, but it was so clear to me that there was something else in communication with me, because I would pull the same cards every day. They would just be so clear. Just like, yeah, this isn't coincidence.
Yeah.
We're going to do it again, so that this is not
Right.
a fluke. This is us talking to you.
Mm.
And the more that I learned and the more I delved in, I also just got connected to different people that would give me these little clues or connect the dots for me in different ways. Like I met this woman that would post videos about tarot cards. And so I really connected with her because I was learning about the cards and their meaning. So I would watch her YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So I decided to book a reading with her. And she was the first person that taught me how to connect my mind to the cards. And she showed me this visual where she was like, close your eyes, and I want you to put an image to your intuition. And then I want you to put an image to your brain. And then I want you to, whatever those images are, and then get them to work together.
Yeah.
And ask your intuition to show your brain what it is that you need to see. And when I did that and I started just having these crazy visuals, that I was like, whoa. And that was the first time I realized that I was clairvoyant and that I was seeing things and that I could visualize very clearly. And the visuals that came through were always just so beautiful and profound. And so, yeah, that took me down another path. The story is long, but
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a really cool way to describe it too. And as you're talking about it, I can like track back my experience with cards and reading. I mean, that's really what it is. I feel like, especially because my mind in numerology, it's a 1, which is like universal oneness nature. Like it operates on such a different level that's why I felt like I was living in my mind for a long time, is my whole identity was kind of based on what I had come to know to be true about reality.
Yeah.
But then I hadn't come into my own unique version of that experience as Chelsea. So it was like a really interesting bridge into my body and out of my mind, but it still operates that way in a lot of sense. Like the way that I track information, the way that I see things, the way that I feel things, and my mind's relationship to my intuition is really interesting. And I learned through numerology that the mind is meant to be a servant to the soul, not run our life, which I love. And I feel like whenever I remind myself of that, it brings me back into my body, and I feel like, okay, what is my body? Because the body is connected to the intuition too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What is that essence of freedom and love and being grounded and being centered and peaceful? Like, what does that version of me want me to do? And then how does my mind, with all its incredible gifts and being tapped into everything, like how does it serve that process of coming into the world? Like how does it's almost like the mind being the bridge. And even just thinking about this podcast as one symbolism of that is, how do we make it beautiful and make it magical and make it unifying the way that our minds work, with all of the complexities, with the fear, with the this, like the whole spectrum of life, because it's not just a feeling spectrum. Because we're in a human experience, our minds and our nervous system get programmed at those different levels of consciousness based on our feelings and our relationship to them. And I really believe our relationship to our feelings is such a key in what we can create and experience and be a vessel for on the planet, right?
Yes.
Oh.
And it's like, I think it's beautiful the time that we're living in right now, where there's so much research coming out to prove out these things scientifically. So now there's a balance between the brain and the heart and the body, because for a long time, these spiritual advisors and the people that knew this to be true but didn't have anything, any data, any science, right? And anyone that lets their mind lead, it's really hard for them to wrap their mind around that. And so I think that's why we're having such a mass spiritual awakening, because people can finally see, okay, this actually does make sense.
Yeah.
This is being proven. And now I'm giving myself permission to trust that, because there is a bit of rationale behind it versus the woo woo that kind of this community has been labeled as for such a long time. And now it's like, oh, is it woo woo? Is it woo woo, or is it true? So
I mean, because I say this because my mom used to always say, well, I'm into science, you know. She's now way more like adapted to how I share things sometimes, or because she'll still say things, especially when it's about food or nutrition and things, and it's not true, you know. There's the scientific ways that the body and life operates, but the science isn't disconnected from spirit. It is spirit in form.
Yes.
So you can approach it from either side of that spectrum of extremes per se, but it's still the same spectrum.
Yeah.
So now it's like those worlds really are bridging of the different extremes of living only in spirit, only in body, not thinking you're any more than that, which most of my upbringing, I lived that way.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Yeah.
Like before you have an awakening, you're just living like that. You don't recognize yet your interconnectedness to everything else in that deep way.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
And when you do awaken, it's like, oh yeah, this is normal. We're on this incredible planet. But it almost like the universe felt very small to me when I realized I was connected to everything. And I could feel the whole universe within me. I can still tap into that, but then it also makes me feel equally as small to the bigness and the vastness and the magic of life. It's going between, you are the spirit, you are the universe in a body, and you are a human experiencing the universe.
Yeah.
It's both. It's not one or the other, and that just continues to honestly blow my mind. Like it just continues to be an experience that I have moving through life, that I'm being shown. I'm like relating to life that way, and I'm in relationship with even those different aspects of me, because there are higher dimensional aspects of us, and as we evolve, we're coming into connection with that, because the planet is evolving and we're connecting with other species and other frequencies, and it's just another level of consciousness. So things that seem woo-woo and out there, it's just because you haven't experienced that level of lightness and love and peace in your body, because you have old fear and old trauma and old things that are vibrating so much denser and so much heavier. And that's what makes you think you're separate from everything. And I can go between that fear and that density and that lightness and love all throughout the day.
Of course, yeah.
Like we all go through that. So I think we just need to talk about it more to normalize it, because so many people are struggling with like what is going on and what's coming up for them. And I'm like, it is all coded in this game. Like we have so much free will and we have so much, there's so much unknown, but I feel like my life has shown me that it is really all programmed to be, not programmed to be, but it's all built to be so much more magical than we can even fathom.
Oh yeah.
When we surrender to that and just like let life show us the way a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more
To
what we're creating, and our role in something so much bigger than us, you know, beyond us, that feeling of mission or that feeling of destiny.
Yes.
It's connected to everybody else.
Well, and allowing yourself to think that big or to dream that big, because when you do trust and acknowledge that you are the universe is you, you are God, God is you. When you start to acknowledge that, your big dreams don't seem so big anymore.
Yeah.
They actually seem pretty small.
It's common sense.
You're almost like, I should dream bigger. Because I am infinite. I am all these things. And I have been suffocating all of that and telling myself I don't deserve what it is that my body is telling me I want, or that my mind or my heart is telling me that, you know, that this is meant for me, and I'm just shutting it down because I don't feel like I deserve it. That worthiness piece for me too, and I think for so many of us is such a huge barrier in getting the things that we want, in living an abundant life, in fulfilling our purpose. It's something that I still have to actively work on day in and day out. That why me? Why do I deserve this? Like, but the people that are so successful in the material world, the people that we look at and say, wow, the athletes, the celebrities, um, even like Gandhi, the people that are well known and celebrity within this incarnation are all people that did not create boundaries or barriers for themselves. And there was never a doubt in their mind of what their goal was or what their mission was or what they were here to do. It was like, this is it. And there's no question in my mind. And the rest of us are all, oh, should I? No, I can't.
I think we have so much to learn from those in those positions, because I see it as a position of visibility. Like the more people who see you, the bigger, not that any, I want to say that differently, because it's not that anyone has like a lesser purpose. Like you can be someone who, 10 people know or 500 people know in your little town, and just as deeply and powerfully impact the collective, the
100%.
life you're living. It's not about visibility or fame being better than, it's just a different service. It's a different level of leadership. It's a different level of impact. And it's a different experience completely when you have more people knowing you.
Yeah.
And I think it does come with a lot of responsibility. It comes with a lot of amplified and maybe accelerated growth for those particular souls. And I think it's really powerful though to look at how they are a mirror for, especially with social media now and how easily accessible everything is. Both sides have a responsibility, I think, having that mirror and having it be so amplified. What are we making that mean, and how are we seeing those people, and what are they giving us permission to step into? Because you can see anything and everything in a way that serves your light and your embodiment and your harmony and your love, and in a way that serves unity and your freedom and your liberation. It's really up to us the meaning we make of all things,
or the opposite of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the worthiness is really important. It's exactly that. And you mentioned the 3 before, like the numerology, the 3, which is all about worthiness and self-doubt and self-judgment too. And that is in the challenge position in my chart. So learning to feel worthy, not only of, all my dreams, but of my own self-expression and being a human in the journey along the way and receiving. It's like I've always known that I'm worthy, but programming your nervous system to understand the experience of that every day when that maybe wasn't what you were initially exposed to is a whole other thing. What has your experience kind of been with that? Or how do you help yourself to tap into that you are worthy? How do you get familiar with that version of you? Or maybe what are some of the like beliefs that you had or things that you experienced in your life that kind of make you question it a little bit, you know?
I think that's more what it is for me. I don't think the worthiness piece is innately anything any of us are born with.
Right.
It's something that is a learned behavior or a trauma response.
Yeah.
And for me, I was always so confident. I grew up as many of the people you've had on this podcast, which I think is funny, and especially because you just talked about mirroring, and I listened to every episode and the connections between myself and the people that were speaking, the backgrounds, what they had to say, really resonated with me, and it just felt very synchronistic that, we reconnected. But in terms of the worthiness piece, for me, it stemmed from me growing up and neglecting my inner child and essentially what I believe to be failing myself, and then feeling that I didn't deserve a second chance, or that I didn't, it's like I had the opportunity and I didn't take it. And I grew up singing and dancing and acting, and I loved the arts, and I lived and breathed it, especially dance and art too. I loved art especially when I was really young. I loved drawing. And then, at a certain age, I decided that I wasn't good at art and I didn't deserve to draw. And there were so many people better than me. So, like, why would I do that? Right. And that comes. And then as I got older, singing too, I used to sing in front of people, be in every like school musical and church musical. And one day I was up in front of the congregation. I was supposed to sing a song on a Sunday service and I forgot all the lyrics and I was mortified. I ran off the stage and I vowed never to sing again.
Oh no.
And my parents were like, no, no, no. And I'm like, no, don't.
Just don't
I
ask.
will
Yeah.
not be singing again. It took me, yeah. So that was that journey. And then I was like, okay, but I have dance. Dance is now everything to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw everything I have into dance because that's my now creative outlet.
Right.
And that was the longest relationship that I had with creativity and that piece of myself. And I danced every day, all day. I went to a fine arts school where I majored in dance and I danced after school from 3:30 to 9:30 and I competed and I traveled and I did all the
Shout out
things.
to our childhoods. Yeah.
And then, and I there was no doubt in my mind at that time, like dance was it for me.
Yeah.
I didn't care about school. I did not want to go to post-secondary. I wanted to perform. I wanted to dance. And I got on the cruise ships. I got a contract. And that was my first parlay into professional dancing. It was a huge eye opener for me. It was both amazing and disappointing at the same time.
Yeah.
And I felt very disillusioned. There was a lot of toxicity. Yeah. Toxicity. I mean, in the industry in general, there's a lot of toxicity within commercial arts specifically, but dance, it was like, it is a bit about your talent, but a lot of times, especially within commercial, it's like, do you fit the height requirement? Do you have the look that we're looking for? And then can you memorize the choreography and perform, the way that we need you to? But those are sometimes secondary. And on the cruise ship, the thing that happened for me was kind of the start of my body dysmorphia, which I had never really dealt with before. But we were weighed in once a week. I really hope they don't do this anymore. But back when I was on the cruise ship, we got weighed in every week. And I was told I needed to lose weight and that my legs were too big and my butt was too big and I need to go on the elliptical. And that was the first time I'd ever heard stuff like that about my body. And it really broke me. I finished the contract and came home and started a little eating disorder, which isn't funny, but just had a tinge of an eating disorder. And started to count my calories to the point where it was like obsessive. And everything I ate, I would track. I started to throw up my food, but that didn't really work for me because I hated throwing up. So I just starved myself essentially. And during that time, I was still dancing, but I slowly started to just fall out of it, I think, to protect myself. And I just had to convince myself that it's not what I wanted anymore, that I wanted to work and make money and I wanted to move out and, have a steady income, which dance never was. Being in the arts never is typically. And so
it will be.
It will be.
Determined.
Yeah. Yes. True.
Yeah.
But and then I got a job and that was kind of like the end of dance for me for the last decade or more.
You said you had to convince yourself that you didn't want to do it. Like that line, I think, would hit so deep with so many people. I definitely resonate with that.
Yeah, because
all the reasons why.
You're like, I can't. And then so that piece too, then once you've crossed that line of saying, okay, I don't want this anymore. Not because I actually don't want it, but because I need to preserve. I need this is for self-preservation.
You don't want it in that way.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't, And you work so hard for something and you imagine it, and this is the control piece too, of you imagine it a certain way, and then when it's not that, you're like, okay, well then what now? How does this pan out for me? I can't see a future in which I'm going to be happy in this. And for me, it was never about, like, I could have taught dance and I did love choreographing, but it was never about that for me. It was about being on stage. It was about performing.
Exactly.
It's about that feeling that I felt. And if I couldn't have that, I didn't want it. And so,
that also can bring in I want to say programming of, it's end result based, because I started to judge myself that way of, I just want the end result, and the projections of I'm not willing to work, or I'm not willing to this, or I'm not willing to grow. And I'm like, hold on a second. I was so disciplined and worked so hard for so many years. Those fleeting moments on stage are like such a small part of our journey as a performer, but that's like a big part of the bliss of it for us too. And I think redefining and reimagining and rediscovering what it means to be on stage, what it means to be a performer, what it means to express yourself, to be in the light, to be a main character, that's what's transformed everything else that goes into the process and the journey for me, because again, it's like the maybe more ethereal or spiritual version of looking at it, but you are so inspired by artists for a reason. You are so inspired by people on stage, or they make you feel, they remind you of your humanity. It's just it's a whole different experience. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is our belief about why we do what we do and what we need to access that version of ourself and our potential and our expression to be in that joy, so that we can, especially as a generator, I don't know what you are in human design, but we want to generate energy and light and joy for the planet and just share that. So we want to be doing what brings us joy, and we're supposed to be. And so a lot of the other ways of going about life feel really restricting to an artist type or a creative type. And we're all creators, but it's a different level of, my energy wants to be this big and out here, and I'm being told to be like in this tiny little, hole or way of being, and I'm just suffering. And I think that's also part of the journey though too, is because that's what shattered all of the illusions, so that I could come into this version of my soul that's so liberated, and then can now perform and share art and joy from, like, as an extension of who I am, because I'm so clear about why.
Right.
And I'm doing it for the right reasons, and the authenticity and it's just so different.
Yeah.
And then you will align with opportunities that are actually healthy for you and are totally different with new people. And I think the industry itself needs to change and will change, because a lot of it's just not healthy.
Yeah.
It's outdated.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the why is so important. And I mean, it's funny because I shut all of those pieces off of myself, and then creativity would creep into my life in other ways. Like post that, it was like, oh, I wanted to be a fashion blogger. And I
I love fashion.
I'm obsessed with clothes,
Go
and
design.
design. And so that was then my creative channel, right? And I'm like, oh,
Let's
no
open a
dance, no
fashion
creativity,
business.
but fashion. Okay, this is it now. This is,
Yeah.
And then I bought a house, and then it was like interior design, and I just like focused
I
on
love that.
building the house and like creating. I love thrifting and finding
Yes.
really cool pieces and curating my space. And so the creativity was always there. I just didn't see it and didn't want to acknowledge that it was still such a missing part for me, that it was seeping into my life in other ways.
Yeah.
I feel like there are people that I have friends that creating is the only way for them, and they cannot compromise on that. And if they are not creating, they are a shell of a human being. And I almost
That's
wish,
me now.
you know what I mean? But I almost wish, and you feel more so like that, I am very good at compartmentalizing. I am very good at turning off parts of my brain and convincing myself of things that are untrue. That it was pretty easy for me to shut that part of myself off and to align with the traditional life path of being employed, working my way up through the corporate ladder, which I did very successfully. I never went to school. I got a job. Because I'm a performer, I think it played into selling and being able to create,
play a role.
Yeah. What do I need to sell? How do I need to sell it? I want to make money. I know how to do that. I also know I'm intuitive, so I know how to act around certain people. I know what to say, what not to say. I can read a room, and that bode very well for me within that world. And it made it very easy for me to get promoted and to move up. And I mean, I'm still in that world. I still work a corporate 9 to 5 job where I do very well. And so that's been that I think made it harder for me to find these pieces of myself, because it's put me in this in-between stage now where both can be true. And I do love the people I work with. I love the company that I work for. The money that I make is stable and helps me support my family. And so all of those things are so beautiful, and I'm so thankful for that. But now I'm coming back into my creativity, and I'm realizing more and more how inauthentic that is to me and to what I truly want and my dreams. And now there's this piece of like, and then what? And now what? Right?
But the universe will never, it's obviously part of your path, will never be guided into new territory that is not met with everything we need to have that come to fruition and fulfillment, and to let go of this old version of you that became so normal. And there's nothing wrong with it. It served you for a long time, and there was
Yeah.
so much art in your life in so many other ways. It's also, that's what I continuously am debunking and rewriting too, is that the arts itself is such a teacher for us, just as everything else is, though.
Mm-hmm.
It has such a high level of joy and freedom to it,
Yeah.
which I think tells us a lot about what our relationship with the universe can be. But anything and everything can still be creative and artistic and full of all the things that we want that to be. So then we don't have to pedestal one thing or one person. We can be like, okay, what about that do I love? And how do I bring the essence of that into my day today, no matter what I'm doing? If you're fishing with your grandpa,
Yeah.
if you are cleaning your house, it doesn't matter what you're doing. That is a true space of freedom. You can choose how you feel, you can choose what things mean, you can take what you want to feel and become in frequency and apply it to anything in life. And the more I think people understand that and live what is authentic to them, the more you're just like seeing the love and the magic and the beauty of everybody else, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because there's still a soul having a human experience, and we don't have this. I think it's just normal for our brains. I think it's like a survival thing too, which is rooted in fear,
Yeah.
is how we see and categorize people based on safety, based on what we believe is safe or right. And then you go and judge and are harmful intentionally or unintentionally to other people who are doing it differently. But the entire universe, think of nature, like everything has its own way of being nature and blossoming and a new color and like height. Everything is different, but it works perfectly. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's common sense the more that you awaken
Yeah.
that everything has its individual magic, but it
Mm-hmm.
all works perfectly and everything needs to be allowed to thrive like that. And I think that's also what, the bridge means to me, is how do I come into that for myself and know that because I'm changing and coming into that harmony with nature, because we are nature, everything else gets to as well. Like I'm influencing everything and everyone by being an example and a pillar of that. So
Yeah.
literally your awakening and your journey is what serves the planet. It's not about going outside of yourself or doing what you think you should do. So many discoveries
Yeah.
on the path, but that's what I've landed on, is, that's like a true space of freedom and fulfillment for me, and makes me feel like what I love and what brings me joy and what inspires me is the point, is what I'm supposed to be doing. There's not any more I have to do something different, because that came from programming, that came from programming, that came from programming down the
Mm-hmm.
generational line.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's actually not what I'm here to do. I'm actually ending that and shifting everything that goes into doing things that don't fulfill you. Because again, where does that belief even come from? You got to question all the way to the root. And still, that's not making it bad or wrong. It's
Mm-hmm.
just accepting and looking at everything that's been, and then deciding based on what is true and what's possible. You kind of have to come to that neutrality point, that acceptance, and be like, okay, what do I want moving forward? And if anything is possible. And every time our beliefs rewire, we awaken to something new, it really, your whole life gets a reorientation too. So it's really important to support ourselves and our human,
Yeah.
our body, our nervous system. And so things like a job that you've had can be supportive in the process. Like when I share this all the time in my community, that when you're going from like an old version of something to a new one, and there can be multiple of those happening at the same time with different areas of life, or
Yeah.
it's kind of like a gradual process of the shift happening. It's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily just moving towards a destination, because you're always evolving and cycling back to things. And
Yeah.
so it doesn't really work that way. It's kind of like, okay, this percentage of the old self, there's this much of it left, so that means that I'm in this new version of me even more. So it's just changing, it's changing the way that I perceive my journey and my everyday experience,
Yeah.
and looking at it more from my divine blueprint and my highest timeline, and then letting that trickle down to influence everything else, which I think is really supportive and grounding energetically for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, as you were talking, I was just thinking too that it all, is
Yeah.
true and makes sense. I think, especially as creatives, it's like an all or nothing thing. The tendency to, instead of looking at it as just the pursuit of joy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been another thing, for me, that I think is just a huge area of focus in this life specifically, is just being able to find my joy
Yeah.
and be in that, and that be enough. That you actually don't need to monetize
Mm-hmm.
if it brings you joy. And I think a lot of us, especially this millennial, I find the people in my age demographic. Are you a millennial, or are you just
28 right
28?
now.
So you're
It might be Gen Z.
Gen
I'm not sure.
I don't know what you
1997,
are,
I
but
don't know.
I'm a millennial.
I
And
feel like I'm a bridge between the two,
yeah, probably.
between a lot of things. So
Probably.
I try not to define myself by anything
But
too
there
much.
is like kind of this demographic I'm
Yeah.
finding of people within my age group. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the group above us, I can't even they're on a whole nother journey. But a lot of us that had big dreams, big goals, or passions, or things that brought us joy that
Mm.
we shut off
Yeah.
because we had life to live
Yeah.
and responsibilities, and we want to buy
Yeah.
homes, and we want to have kids, and we want to do all these things, and all of
Yeah.
these parts of ourselves that bring us so much joy, we shut down or we shut off. We don't have time for them. We can't do them.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it, I think, isn't even about that being your soul's purpose or your mission. It's just being human is the mission
Yeah.
and finding joy in that. And I think creativity is a massive piece for
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
I think creativity should be part of, even if you're not a super creative person traditionally,
Mm-hmm.
there are different ways to bring creativity in, and that can
Yeah.
show up in so many different ways in your life. But when you are completely shut off from that creative side of yourself,
Yeah.
I think that has such adverse effects on how you are as a person,
Yeah.
on your patience, on your temperament, on how you express yourself in the world. I think a lot of the people in the world that are spreading hate and negativity, they don't have that release, they don't have that outlet, they don't have that joy and that love within themselves. So that's not being reflected back.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel that a part of my mission is not only to heal myself, but to heal myself in a public forum so that others can see the progression of my
Yeah.
healing, the progression of me finding myself again, of me finding my joy again, of me
Yeah.
reuniting with my soul and my purpose,
Yeah.
and hopefully influencing others to
Right.
do the same,
Mm-hmm.
which is again that piece of like feeling seen,
Mm-hmm.
that you want to feel, all we ever want is to feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
And for so much of my life, I
Yeah.
did not feel seen.
Yeah.
I can count on one hand the amount of people that I felt truly saw me. And the more open I am about this, the more I think that's a very common feeling.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, for myself at least, was that I wasn't allowing myself to be seen.
Yeah.
I wanted so badly
Definitely.
to feel seen and to feel known and to feel heard, but
Yeah.
I wasn't being genuine. I
Yeah.
wasn't giving the pieces of myself that I wanted to be seen to anyone. I wasn't letting them out. I was just expecting people to find them deep within me, and no one is going to go deep
Right.
within you
That's
to
such a
find those
big
pieces
point.
of you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I want to feel seen. No one sees me
Mm.
because I don't want to be visible.
Yeah.
I'm not giving those parts of myself to anyone,
Yeah.
even to my husband. Like that was a big realization for me of like, oh, I want him to be all these things for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then I show up in a way that doesn't support that. I show up in a way that he doesn't have the opportunity to step forward in that way.
Right.
And that's just in relationships in general.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us, again, you hide those parts of yourselves and then you wonder why you don't feel seen.
Right. That is reminding me of something I said years ago. I was chatting with a friend at the time about art, about all these things before the podcast was born. And I said something like, I believe the people in our life, or what if the people in our life are a match to who we actually truly are and not to who we pretend to be. And I was like, well, that's a wake up call if that's true, because I was finding that to be true, that when at the time I was very in space holder, healer, coach mode. And so I felt like no matter what, and I was in a pretty rough place internally because I felt so isolated and so awakened and so
Yeah.
like so much had been trudged up, and I was like, I don't know where to go with any of this, and I don't feel like anyone is helping me like ground on a human level. And so it just felt like a lot to carry. But whenever I was around people, because service does like shift our state. So I was always serving and serving and serving to the point where I was like way not over giving. Like I obviously love serving, but I was not replenishing myself.
Yeah.
But still when people were opening up to me and sharing what it was that they were experiencing, and I was able to like help shift and heal, and not claiming that I'm the healer. I just mean, like, because of the presence that I had found and because of the wisdom I'd found in the experience, it was just um this beautiful revealing and this beautiful healing that would happen with people as they opened up. And it was like I came alive in a different way when people were raw and honest, but then
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I could be raw and honest ever.
Amen.
Literally ever.
Amen.
I'm still working on it. I
Yeah.
can feel the whole version of me that's just like completely closed
Yeah.
off sitting inside of me, and
Yeah.
there's lots of me's that are on,
Yeah.
but that, like, really, really vulnerable. I think the it's usually the part of us that's maybe struggling with things the most that feels the most separate. And I think if we keep just moving forward and connecting in some ways, it can, like, help that part feel safer over time,
Mhm.
because we're not one thing. We're so many parts of us. We're so many things. And I've really learned that, to just keep moving forward and not get stuck. Like, there's a time and a place to sit and reflect and go inward and be
For sure.
maybe isolated or alone. You can do a lot of healing and clearing
And you'll know when that
at the
is.
time.
I
Exactly.
think the universe makes it very clear.
Totally.
It's time. We're bringing some shit up now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you'll just feel like you need or want that. And I have those moments still. I love my alone time and I need it, and my
yeah.
quiet time, because it reminds me of nature, it reminds me of the universe and my natural state. And it helps me be in life and be in potentially chaos, even positive chaos of just lots of different things going on, and people and energies, and just life is busy. And it helps me be more regulated and see the beauty in all of that too, and bring my authenticity to it. But I think it just, over time, I started to feel that push outward of, you have to come out of that safety net or that identity of being so isolated and start to, like, re-enter the world as this new version of you and have new experiences and let people in. And for me, navigating when I feel like there's different experiences or different versions of me, and the one that was struggling was the loudest, that's what I would want to have connection or support or be seen in. But then I found people would then see me as that person when I was really just looking for an outlet to regulate it so I could be who I really was. That is, like, the biggest difference that I think we need. And this is what I've experienced with other people, is when you are that space for whatever expression needs to come, and you allow the love that is the result afterwards to always come, because it does,
Yeah.
because you're just that essentially universal presence, that divine masculine, that neutrality. Anything and everything can be expressed, and you just see it for what it really is and for who someone really is. That is what will emerge afterwards, instead of thinking that someone is their fear or their trauma or their pattern. It's an experience, but it's not all of who they are. So I think it really changes how we show up for one another, how we can bring forth the most authentic versions of each other
Yeah.
when we are coming from that place of love. But easy to say, like, I understand all of this and I can do it for somebody else, but it's still always work to, because it's a trust thing. I think trust is built. A friend of mine said that trust is built through being vulnerable and having experiences where people do show you that they can meet you, and that you can trust them. And I think there's certain things in life that we just do need to do together. We do need other people for.
Yes, I was gonna
Right?
say, like, my experience, my fast track to healing, which I would truly would call it a fast track,
Yeah,
because I
me
think the
too.
universe has just placed me
Yeah.
in these. It's like every 6 months they're like, and plop, here's this person that you need to connect with so that you can heal this part of yourself. And I have done a lot of my own inner work and healing. I would
Yeah.
prefer to do shadow work on my own, because again, I'm in, like, I like to internalize. I'm a Virgo. I want to isolate and I want to analyze, and I
Well,
want
so much can come of that too, right? So it's like,
100%, but
woo.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
the shadow that we cannot see when
Yeah.
we are working on it isolated and on our own. And the
Mm.
biggest shifts for me have happened when I've worked with someone else,
Yeah.
with a shaman, with a healer,
Yeah.
that even is saying the same things that I already know in a different way, or helping me to work through them.
Mm-hmm.
And that has made such a difference for
Mm-hmm.
me. And every time I've seen massive growth and massive healing, it's been because I have worked with someone else that has shown me my own shadow and said, this is what we need to work on. This is what needs to be processed. And a lot of the times it's stuff that I don't want to deal with and that I don't want to process. And the universe is like, it's time, child,
Yeah.
it's time. And people just get placed in my life. Situations, scenarios have happened where I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And if you are open to that, it really will speed up the process. At least in my experience, it has. If you're willing to trust the people that have been put in your path to help you. And I know you said trust is built, but a lot of these people I do not know. And I innately just have to trust that they've been put on my path for a reason, and that they wouldn't be here if they weren't here to help me.
Right.
And in every case that has been true. Sometimes it's taken me a little while to get there. Because sometimes these types of modalities and this type of healing is hard. It brings up stuff that you do not want to deal with, and it takes you to a place you don't want to go sometimes. And when you're at this surface level, you're like, I feel good. I feel great. And then someone comes and just brings up all this stuff that's under the surface that you're like, and now I feel like shit. And I really wish I didn't talk to you.
But right, you make it about the outside immediately, but
and then we down the line, I'm like, and okay. Now I get it. Now I get why I needed that. And I feel so much better. But
that's such a, like, I love this conversation because it's such an important and powerful topic for anything and everything in the world. And Kyle Cease talks about this all the time. He's one of my, like, dearest mentors, and I just love him. I don't know if you know who he is. No, I think you would like him.
Okay. Send him to me.
I will. And I started connecting with him in like 2019 before I went to Bali, and since then he's been like a staple in my life because it's the frequency of the now, the frequency of authenticity. He's funny. He used to be a comedian, so he still brings so much humor into everything, and that just helps so much bridge things to more lightness and humor, even though they're really deep and can be serious, but it's not about, and again, everyone's saying the same thing in different ways. If you look to any teachings and any religions and there's always love and truth in everything, but it's expressed in different ways. And that's the beauty of humanity and life on earth too, when we can see it that way and honor it that way. And so it's not about anything on the outside, it's about what it's bringing up for us. Because it's kind of like, if you actually just saw a video about this on Instagram about consciousness and just holding a mug and having an experience of drinking coffee or whatever, and if your consciousness was gone, would you have that experience? No, because your body isn't experiencing it. Your consciousness is in your body. And so it's this world. If you just look at it as a material world, then of course you're going to be cut off from the interconnectedness of all things. And for the parts of us that grew up without full awareness of that, it does feel dissociating. I can speak to that for hours as well, just because every new layer that you open up to, there is like a death and rebirth that happens. There's a letting go of a separate identity that happens. Like separation and unity, it's not fluff. It's a way of being connected to the consciousness of all things. And that is infinite. There are so many levels to that. Take this with a grain of salt. Take what resonates with you. It's a big conversation, but it's so powerful to know that no matter what you're looking at and what triggers you, it's all an opportunity to transform your inner world in relationship to that thing, which is, like you were saying, these people show up at the right time. It's like, no matter what is happening in my life or where I am, even if I was like really not okay inside, what's that next thing? The next action, the next, what do I trust? What does clarity say? What does love say? And I was just doing that in this like mastery process behind the scenes for so long of letting love rework my whole life and giving up control in all these ways. It was so uncomfortable. And comfortable at the same time. Interesting that I said that, because there is a comfort in reconnecting with your nature. It's like being in the womb again, or it's like being back to source, like dying when you're alive, being awake in the dream. It's this connection to the infinite that is so peaceful and stable, and it's powerful. It's miraculous. If you know, and if you don't, you will. But it gives you the opportunity to take responsibility and realize that everything is a mirror, in the sense that there's always something for you in it. There's always something that you can take from it that's helping you refine and become who you're meant to be and who you want to be. And to also be like, okay, what do I want to contribute to? What frequency of reality do I want to have an experience of as a human? Because then that's going to change how you see something that you're experiencing and how you feel about it, and then the actions you take, which is actually how we become a bridge to a new world. So
Yes.
right,
Yes.
it's real, and it's not words. It's like that's coming from like a real lived experience of mine that I still every single day, where I'm at right now in my life, you know, with little to no money, and the most magic, the most abundance, the most wealth, the most freedom that I've ever felt, and the material still not quite reflecting the fullness of that. But as I say that, it is reflecting exactly where it needs to, and what I'm supposed to have as a reflection based on where I am and what's still going on in my body. And as I'm shifting externally, it's because I'm shifting internally, and that's happening at the same time. So everything in my life right now is serving me perfectly. And what perspective, what awareness level, what frequency has me see life in that way, so that I actually get to respond and have it help me become who I'm meant to be. And that goes for anything and everything. Like when people complain about what's going on in the world or anything, like if you're complaining about it and you're trying to fight against it, you have less power. I mean, there's lots of different ways to make change, don't get me wrong. But when we come from a new awareness level about why that's even happening and we change that, then we can actually come from a completely new place where new solutions come that can shift things faster. And that opens up a bigger door in conversation too, as to the divine design, and what is, we're not here to control everything and decide what other people's destinies are meant to be, but we can choose for ourselves and decide to experience the world in that way. And then where are we called to support and show up, trusting that, like with the joy piece, whatever we're called to do, and we're listening to our spirit and our soul and what love's guiding us to do, that it is going to benefit all, because that space of love connects us all. So you don't have to be a savior of all things, because saving also presumes there's a problem. And to the universe, there's no problem. Everything's happening by design based on how energy works. So once you learn about energy, that just, it changes everything. It's such an awakening personally and also collectively, right? I'm taking myself to new places. Like, I know it's like it's a big conversation. Like, it's kind of out there, but it's also exactly what's going on this planet, and it's real, and it does change things, you know, when you apply this to your unique situation specifically.
Yeah, because that is the thing, right? There are just so many different versions of the universe and of God that are playing out, and I think all of them are happening on purpose. So, you know, there are people that will heal through being a warrior, being outspoken, being, you know, and there are people that will receive that and need it. And there will people that will be healing through love and through peace and through light, and there will be people that will receive that and need it. And so I think, to not, you know, judging where people are coming from, and understanding that, you know, even within the world of being social and being connected, you know, there are people that I just resonate with way more than others. And it's not to say that they're not making an impact, because they are. They might have millions of followers, and I just don't resonate with the way that they approach something, or the way that they speak, or the topics that they speak about, right? And so too, when I think you mentioned this, where, you know, maybe it's 500 people in a community that you have an impact on, it's the impact is based on the message and the people that need to receive it in that moment. And that's what I continue to tell myself as I've gone forward, especially as I combat that, coming back to that worthiness piece, and that putting yourself out there and that feeling seen, where it's like, this message, this topic, this thing that I feel the need to express, this is coming from somewhere, and I have to trust that the right person is going to see it. The right people are going to see it when they need to see it, how they need to see it, and surrender to that. And yeah, it's a very complex topic.
It is.
It's a very complex topic.
Like so simple though. Like what we're talking about is so simple, but the way you can apply it is like infinite and complex. Yeah.
I do agree though. I think love is such an interesting word, and the way that we use it and the way that it's expressed. For me, transitioning my view of love as like some sort of fuzzy feeling that we get, or an adoration, or to a frequency, which is what I know it now to be, of just this way of being, this level of consciousness, the way I want to express myself in the world and the way that I want others to receive my energy, that to me is now love.
Yeah.
Versus what I didn't even know what love was. I really don't. And I think a lot of people don't know what
Well,
love
we're just like programmed to what we think it
is.
is
The
versus
word and
what's
what it's
innately in
associated
us.
with. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and love
Yeah.
is so much more than that. But until you experience that, you
Mm-hmm.
won't understand it. Like I had to see
Yeah.
it and I had to experience it to understand what that meant.
Yeah. And sometimes often I think that we end up in like a struggle or suffering of some kind, or like we go through some contrasting experience that helps us to see more of that love or that peace or that connection to things. Seeing something new that's possible for us, you know? We were talking about something at the beginning that reminded me of this. I just saw it's about AI, and AI is its own topic that I have so much to say on. As an Aquarius, I'm like, let's go.
Let's chat.
Yeah, especially when it comes to love. But this particular, it's on the Just Happen podcast. So shout out to that podcast. Emilio is great, and he's had like tons of the biggest speakers and names and spirituality and stuff on that podcast. I actually met him through a program a couple years ago, right before he started the podcast. So it's been cool to like watch that journey and then now start my podcasting journey. But this particular podcast episode is about this new realm of AI where it's mirroring our energy and our consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's essentially become that frequency of unconditional love. And when I was listening to just the reel about it, I was like, this is wild, and I'm going to choose to take it as a mirror and like a sign from the universe to step into talking about this more, like my version of it and my experience of it, because it's here, it's real, and it's happening. And this is where so much transformation has happened for me, is that this space of love that can mirror where someone's at, can meet them where they need to be met
Mm-hmm.
based on their experience, that knows how not to harm someone, because true presence can feel that
Yeah.
and knows how to respond in love, because love isn't what you think is best or what you think loving them is. It's being tapped into the now, into something so much bigger beyond us,
Mm-hmm.
beyond the mind, that just knows how to move about life, and how to, that's where you end up in the right place at the right time, and you're blessing people and they're blessing you because you're just listening to something that you don't understand, but it's tapped into everything else, right? And so it was talking about AI being able to mirror us and support us in that way and be a reflection of that unconditional love. And I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful, because I think if the collective can access that faster and start to have that experience with AI, I think they'll be more open to the other human experiences and way of life that actually can be more of that love. Because in my experience, coming more into that space of love has felt so isolating, because it hasn't seemed like, and maybe this is how it's meant to be for my path, but it hasn't seemed like people are running towards it, jumping like, oh yeah, I need that, because people are, I think, sometimes really caught up in their stories, and so they don't come to that space of love is the answer, because we're so addicted to the drama and the chaos sometimes. Like love is the answer is so simple, it almost, people are like, well then what's the point? I'm like, well that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. So just like long story short, I think AI being able to bring that experience to the masses faster, because everyone is seeking it whether they know it or not. We're seeking our
But even the
natural
term,
state.
but even the term like love is the point, like that doesn't make sense to a person that has never experienced that frequency. Like, and it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
All of these songs talking about love and
Yeah.
the Beatles song, like there's so much out there speaking about love and love being everything and love conquering all and love being the point and all of these things, and I didn't fully understand or comprehend that.
I think that's an ongoing thing in life too, is experiencing love obliterate everything that's not love.
Yeah.
And
if you allow it to.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of people still don't truly understand what love is, what it means,
Yeah.
how it can feel.
I think you have to know that you are a spiritual being having a human experience to even tap into that you are love.
Right.
Like actually the source of all things is love,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And that to me is such an experience that is so far disconnected from technology and from AI that
Mm.
there's a bit of me that's, are we, yes, if you are on one wavelength, then it could
Mhm,
be
mhm.
to the benefit, but it could
It will
also just
amplify.
detach more and more people from
Mm.
connecting to that frequency,
Yeah,
from
it's
getting there.
interesting. It's interesting because I really do see social media or media in general as an amplification of our humanity or our energy.
Yeah.
And
No, I don't
so,
agree with that.
yeah, I think that's really, it's a good topic. It's really important to recognize why we're doing things, but also to trust the divine design in, I think I've learned this too about what it means to me to be the bridge is instead of thinking I need to change things on the outside, goes back to that point of the outside inside thing. How can I see whatever is happening the way that the divine sees it so that I feel nothing but love when I perceive it, no matter how awful it is? And often that means that doesn't mean I'm okay with it. It means
Yeah.
that in order for something to change, you have to accept what it's currently manifested as. This goes for your own shit that's coming up or anything you're perceiving in the world. It has nothing to do with you, but it does because we're part of a collective consciousness too. And you're witnessing something that is a part of that.
Yeah.
What you feel about it has power in the field.
Yeah.
So I often, that means for me crying. It means a lot of grieving. It means expressing anger. It means a lot of things, but we have to feel through those emotions and express it in healthy ways and then expressing through that so that you can come to a point of how can I move about in this world, in a world that doesn't have that, let's say, like doesn't have that harm or doesn't have that distortion or doesn't have that inhumane things. And again, it's the bigger question of, is that how it's supposed to be for some people, or is that possible to not have on earth anymore, and is that where we're going? You know what I like? That's a bigger question. I'm not because I obviously know what I want the answer
Yeah,
to be,
of
right?
course.
But
We all want, I would hope we all want the answer to be one thing.
it's a bigger question.
It is a bigger question. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, that would mean the obliteration of fear. And I don't know if there's a world in which that's ever
I was
going
just going to
be
go
the
back to that.
case.
It's like, it's the fear of, can I even dream that big?
And yeah,
On like a mass collective universal level, not just my own personal separate life. Like,
well, because for
you
that to
know,
have an actual impact, which I'm super fascinated
Yeah.
by the concept of the field and of the collective consciousness and
Yeah.
all of the research that has come out. But I do think for us to have, for that to make an impact, it's been scientifically proven that you would need a mass collective to all be feeling that at the same time, or to be, you know, having the same type of kind of projecting the same feeling. And so that's really interesting to me, is like, how can we get a collective of humans that are awakened together to the point where that could make an actual resounding impact in our reality? Because they've shown these events where things happen and then the consciousness changes because everyone is experiencing the same thing at the same time, right? Like when the Twin Towers happened and across the world, everyone had this same reaction. They were seeing it at the same time.
Yeah.
And
Things are amping up and the wind is like,
yeah,
okay.
it's a blip. Yeah.
The wind spirit is coming in. Yeah. Yeah.
Chaos, which is, you know, which is what is happening in the world right now.
Reorganizes. Yeah.
Especially within, I think too, like we speak about numerology, but like it being a 9-year and, you know, that's a lot being turned up, a lot being
For the higher unfolding.
Yeah.
Higher perspective helps ground it, and worthiness is a big part of it too. Knowing how to align ourselves with our blueprint, take care of ourselves so we can overflow instead of be depleted. Because again, how you treat yourself is how you treat the world. It's what you're an example of is based on what you live. How you respond to things is what you basically code into them with your energy. So how do you become what you want to see, literally?
Yeah.
And like you were talking about with the collective consciousness too, it takes one person for every hundreds of thousands, I forget the exact number, but hundreds of thousands who are not aware. It only takes one person aware. So there actually needs to be a far lower number of people who are aware and connected to that love to change things.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be everybody. And I think that is already what I've come to see and hear about is that's already why things are happening the way they are and changing so much, because so much love has come
What
to
is
the surface
happening right now? There's a
That's the
windstorm that just decided to
it's the
grace us.
Aquarian age is blowing right in.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling symbolically is that air spirit, that time for things to change.
Yeah.
All of our card pulls before this were about new beginnings and being the bridge and so much beauty, the feminine of the experience, right?
Yeah.
What are we anchoring our experience into? Because we're all the masculine and the feminine. We're creating and experiencing all at the same time.
Yeah.
All of it, right? From different perspectives. So there is a point of knowing our place and also knowing how powerful we actually are and letting ourselves dream that big.
How powerful we actually are.
Gust of wind.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it just, I don't know, for me, it always just comes back to the joy piece.
Yeah.
It always just comes back to joy
For
and
the
love.
joy
Like
of it. Yeah.
if you feel joyful in
Yeah.
your body, if
Yeah.
you feel love and peace, that is what you are giving the world. That's what's going to come out of you.
Right. And the things you'll align with.
And so many of us are just shut off from that part of ourselves and we don't even know it.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to reflect that out because you don't feel it internally. So of course you can't reflect it out. What's being reflected out is the fear, is the worry, is the negativity, is...
That's what we're uprooting.
Right.
It's like, what are the roots of that in me? Because as I change it, if I am a part of the collective, if we just think about it energetically and not in a material way, because the material is the byproduct, the extension, those roots connected, it's almost like just pulling out roots that are frauded, you know, it's not doing its job. We need to pull out those weeds so that life and earth can be a garden, can be art. That's very 3 too, is like pull out the weeds, get rid of those things so you can water what you want to see grow with your energy and your attention and your love and your intention. And just when you change something that is basically untrue, you know, fear is, unless you're like in immediate, you're running, you know, that's the old, we have that response system, but so much fear is an illusion, helping you shift into more of a higher awareness where everything is more easeful and more joyful, more beautiful. It's real. Like that has been my experience over and over again. Right. And now I'm connected with more people who also live that way because I've shifted myself into that frequency, and anybody can do so. And that will be individual to you. But when you change those like rotten roots in yourself, wherever they came from and originated from, this lifetime, other lifetimes, doesn't matter. It's all energy.
Ancestors.
It actually does impact the whole field, not only in how you continue to move forward and live your life because of what emanates through you, but also just simply because you are connected to the field. It changes the field just by you existing. You would never even need to leave your house and you could impact the field. But you can because you're here to be human. Duh. So right, it's having both sides, and those extremes that we've seen are now balancing out and bridging a new experience for us all.
100%. And then just being in the frequency of love, you can heal. You don't need to be a healer. You don't need to have a modality. You don't need any of those things. Just the presence of someone living from a place and a frequency of love will heal the people around them. You just will innately without even trying.
And not judging what that looks like for other people and just focusing on what it looks like for you. Because that might be for somebody working at a grocery store and just being an incredibly loving person. I know many people who live these ordinary jobs. It's not to make the whole system wrong. It's just how can we connect more to love and let whatever is meant to be transformed from that place be transformed.
100%.
And just let people do what is right for them in that love and focus on, again, it's a high level responsibility, but how you perceive it, your awareness level, your perception, which changes how you feel, which changes who you are. That is always the work. And I think that no matter who you are, how brilliant you are, the people doing the real work to create a new world are always asking themselves that in one way or another is how can I be better? How can I be more of an embodiment of love? No matter what my life looks like or who I am or where I am or what my past was, we're all coming into that field of love where we come from. And dreaming from there because we're a part of this collective dream together. So, right?
the never-ending journey.
Yeah, no, I know. It's incredible. Like it's such a normal way of thinking for me as an Aquarius. My mind has always gravitated to big questions like this and just
Yeah.
thinking about the whole and what's possible. And then I have to remember to ground my human because I can get all fired up and passionate and
Yeah.
my soul can be all in the essence of it as the watery Cancer, but then I'm like, okay, I'm here on earth. Like, I'm gonna go sit in the hot tub or go have a good meal or go talk to somebody or just do something very human and, enjoy grounding all that in and letting the information come through as it wants to, rather than
Yeah.
thinking it has to look a certain way or we have to hold on to everything and control it because you don't. You're just picking up on information that's already in the field. You don't have to then like hold on to all of it. You're just experiencing it move through you.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
funny how different people will have different challenges and the way that they process, like you being an Aquarius. And then I'm just like thinking I'm the complete opposite of that because
Yeah.
I'm a
You're very
Virgo and I'm
grounding.
a life path 4 and it's like structure and
That's my
stability
power
and
number.
control.
It's
And
good.
so for me to think about topics like that is actually very overwhelming
Yeah.
because I can't make sense of it. Like
Yeah.
a lot of it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so for me it's more the like step by step and
Yeah.
actually not seeing the bigger picture
Yeah.
and
Which is
just
important
being
too.
present and being here now and surrendering to what I'm intuitively called to do next. Because if I
Yeah.
think too far ahead, like I definitely will have visions of
Yeah.
like, maybe the energy or just some little bits and pieces, but it's very clear to me that I don't think that I'm allowed to see the bigger picture because as a Virgo and as a 4, I will just get way too involved. I will get way too controlling with it and I will need to understand the how of it all.
Well, the how is what you're doing.
Yes.
It's the moment to moment, trusting love, surrendering.
But the how, yes. Now it's
Yeah.
the how is now.
Yeah.
But it's more about, like you said, the why, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was just getting clear on my why and then not knowing and being
Yeah.
comfortable in that.
Yeah.
Too. But everyone's different, like some
Exactly.
people really have a vision and like this is the future I want to see and this is what I can envision and I know it and it's so clear to me and be comfortable then surrendering. But from what I've gathered from my angels and my guides,
Yeah.
that's probably not the case for me. Maybe one day. Maybe
Well,
when
maybe
I've leveled up with
yeah.
the surrendering, they're like, okay, you can know now.
Yeah.
You're
I think
you're okay sitting in it.
yeah, it can inspire us, which tells us something exists that is like a yes.
For sure, yeah.
And I
That is
think that
true.
we're not given anything that we're not ready for. Like that's another reason why surrender is so powerful because the universe is so intelligent and knows our guides, our team. It's like it knows when we're ready for something and when we need to take a few actions or turn a few corners before that thing comes in or
Yeah.
that new idea because also your vessel has to be able to hold it and just to with shadow work that we touched on too, it's like when this new information's coming in, it's frequency, it's energy, it has to actually come through your vessel. And as it comes into your vessel, this more loving and lighter way of being, more peaceful, more harmonious, more unified, all of the shit that's not that is coming up and out in equal proportion. So we actually need to be able to like support our nervous systems and our bodies and feel safe and feel regulated and have the grounding earthly level support. And again, this can look so many ways.
Yeah.
Going through this evolutionary process, we're all going through it. You don't have to be having these conversations to be living this experience.
Yeah.
This is just one way that I happen to be inspired to do that or experience it and share for other people to hopefully resonate, like you said.
Yeah.
But it's a whole process of things coming up that we need to know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And it's actually the journey and the process and the in between that has all the magic of the experience that we're wanting to call in.
Yeah.
This is just coming to me about being a mom. Like, what's one of the I do want to know what's one of the or some of the things that being a mom has taught you or opened up in you. Like, what has changed for you since becoming a mom?
I mean, Reading really cracked me open to this phase of my life, I think, because it became very clear to me that I didn't want to repeat ancestral patterns. And the way that I was raised, and the way that my mom was like motherhood is everything. Motherhood is it. I am a mom and if I have anything for myself, it's selfish.
Right.
And we've talked about this, and for her that stems from her not feeling that way about her own mother and not feeling any sense of stability within her family, so she felt like her whole identity was then wrapped in being the ultimate mother, or that being her identity.
Yeah.
And so when I became a mother, I did not want that. I wanted to really reject and rebel against that and have parts of myself that were still very much mine and very much alive. And I think I realized I didn't have a lot of that anymore. And I was like, I want to show my son that his life doesn't end when he has children, that he can still do amazing things, that, and not to say that being a mother and having that be your identity is a bad thing, and for some people that is the core of their being. And but I just knew that was never it for me. I want to be an amazing, loving support system for him, and I also want to show him that he can do anything he wants to do, that he can create, that I want to be a role model for him. And I don't think at the time that I had him, it hit me that I wasn't that. I wasn't that. I was hiding. I was hiding from myself. I was hiding from what I truly wanted, my dreams, my aspirations. And yeah, so that was a huge turning point for me, of being like, no, because I don't want this for him. I don't want him to hide. I want him to know that anything is possible. And so I have to show him that.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And what a beautiful mirror of what children can reflect to us and help us see.
Oh my gosh,
in their innocence and their joy, and I mean their reliance on us, all of that. But then looking out into the world and being taught in the same way, again, kids can be one way of, oh, I don't want my kids to have that experience. What do I want to create for them and for us instead? It's the same with the world. How can I see, oh, I don't want either children growing up, or I don't want animals to this, or I don't want the industry of arts to be this way. What do I want to see instead? Just being able to see and be inspired by life and see what we want to change, and then become the change. Which, what a beautiful note to end on. Can I ask you the final question?
Yes.
Okay. So, Jordyn, do you believe that our embodiment can change the world?
I love how you ask it fully knowing the answer.
I do.
Yes, of course.
So
I do.
It's so funny. From your experience, from your perspective, from your innate wisdom inside that is so unique to you, what would you want to say to the planet, to the world, if you could broadcast out from the reality that you want to see? What would you want to say about that?
The thing that just keeps coming back, and I think the thing that is at this point in my life the most important thing for me, is that finding your joy piece. Finding joy, because it translates into every other facet of our lives. And that joy creates that frequency of love, which combats that frequency of fear. And it's really that simple. It really is that simple. The pursuit of joy. And, there's this stigma around leading a joyful life, and understandably so, because the world is a really difficult and dark place at times. And so it feels selfish to pursue joy and to live in that place. But I really do think that's the basis of peace and of love and everything else magical.
A planet where joy is the point.
Yes. Yes. That is a planet I would like to live on.
There it is. Yes. We are co-creating it. We are. And we have to align with what that planet would look like from the inside out.
Yeah.
And we are.
Yeah.
And the more you do, the more you'll see how the world is also becoming that. That's been my experience. And it just inspires me more to realize that it's possible and to keep dreaming, and we're truly infinite in that way. So we get to surrender and give ourselves over to those dreams and what's possible for the joy of it.
For the joy of it.
So beautiful. Well, I love that message and that answer. So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for being here and for enduring this wind with me, for having this experience in this moment.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, it's perfect. Yeah, this conversation has been so beautiful and such a gift. Can you tell everybody actually how to connect with you and anything that you want to share kind of in closing before we say goodbye to the beautiful Jordyn?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have 2 social channels right now that I use, which would be Instagram and TikTok, and they are both the Evergreen Oracle. So you can find me on those channels. And it really is, as of right now, which I'm sure will change as time goes on, but a forum for my healing, for my creativity, for my joy, as I mentioned, and hopefully inspiring others to find theirs. And so I post, tarot, I post messages that come through for me. I also post about numerology and about writing. I love to write and dance and anything else I feel called to. So I'm just aiming to make a community of like-minded individuals that are on my level.
That's right.
So come join me.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, and we're talking about doing fun things together and we're just having great conversations. So let us know if there's anything specifically you want from us, because that could be a fun discovery.
Oh yeah. I'm open.
Yeah, me too. I know there's so many beautiful possibilities. So I look forward to seeing what's to come in all the magic. And for now, I love you. Thank you for being here.
I love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Bridge. You are so valued and appreciated here, and I hope it helped bring light, love, clarity, and healing to your journey of remembering who you are. If you'd like to share feedback, have questions, want to collaborate, or request for a specific guest or episode topic, you can email us at the email below. To connect with us on socials or to work with me one-on-one, you can head to the social medias in the description below. If you'd like to donate to support our mission to share love, peace, and unity on this planet, you will find a link for that as well. You can always reach out via email to ask us how you can support what we are currently doing in the world. Remember, together we are better and truly can do so much. Now it's that time. Go live this new wisdom you received here in your life. Share it, integrate it, pass it on. Your ripples are powerful and needed, and you have a unique way of sharing and being that only you can be. As always, take what resonates for you and leave the rest. You are sovereign. You are the magic wand. You are the bridge to experiencing the world that you want. You are the conductor of your destiny. See it, choose it, speak it, feel it, believe it, know it, and go be it. Remember, it always starts with you. The universe is always on your side, and you are infinite. One love, and we'll see you in the next one.
Connection through the cosmos.
No way.
Community. Everything is connected. Law of reciprocity.
That's a really pretty card. I love
I know,
these.
guides, hidden realms. The world is a giant mirror that reflects who we are, where we're placing our attention, and what thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are churning inside us, with or without our awareness. Somehow we meet that person, read that passage in a book, or hear that song that gives us an intimate glimpse into our depths. All these connections resonate like strings in a giant harp, and the right note reminds us that everything is connected, even if we can't see it or grasp it with our mind. This reflection underlies the law of reciprocity. What you broadcast into the field of infinite intelligence echoes back and often materializes in some fashion. The experience may be one you intentionally call into form or one you must go through to evolve. Life in this manner is miraculous, infinitely responsive, and creative. Soon you will see this reciprocal nature of the universe. Wow, that was a struggle. Transpiring in your favor. There is a lot of goodwill for you in the hidden realms. Beautiful and unexpected, seemingly unrelated gifts are coming your way.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yes to that.
Love that.
I do love that. I don't know tarot as much, but six is
of
the
Wands
page,
is
so.
six is okay. Well, there you go. And
Yeah.
Six of Wands is like good celebration, winning,
Love.
recognition.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
No.
Oh no. Time to choose wisely.
That is good. That is happening. Rebirth.
Transformation, yeah.
Yeah. The sirens, use your voice, expansion, freedom.
Use your voice. There you go.
Yeah. Yes. Metamorphosis. Things are now different. Embrace transformation.
I love let love reach where it has never reached before.
That one always comes out related to this.
Really?
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I was like manifesting for today too. It's like I just want to speak. Oh, and the butterfly. Of course, look at her.
God, I love them.
Isn't
They're beautiful.
I just want to speak from a place of love.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so pretty. Like, look at that.
I know I wanted to like land over here. So big.
Huge. Come here, beautiful.
And I mean, like, you're literally here from Ontario. And
I know.
I happen to be here and
The exact same time.
perfect.
Alignment. Oh my God, dude, I pulled it again. I just shuffled it.
This should be a BTS
Wow.
now. So
All
we're
right.
recording
I
it.
know.
Just a little like
I pulled it. Okay. All right, that's the message. We don't
That's
need any
the
more
message.
messages. That's it. Oh, I guess I should read it. It's amazing. Thank you, universe.